Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. 5CRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid-80s. Marlinton, 65 overnight. Then Charleston, 86 on our Wednesday, gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, three,
Rag 57! Rag 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw. Bill McKenzie hits a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
And good evening, everyone. We welcome you in to a Tuesday edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline, August 11th, 2026. Brad and Greg with you. We're glad you're alongside, however you may be listening or watching the show. Good to have you with us. Coach Hunter, good to have you with us as well. Good evening.
Good to be back. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Doing great. Got a lot to get to on the show tonight. Football straight ahead, as it will be basically all week. We've got more West Virginia football camp to get into. We'll hear from a couple players tonight, Coach Hunter. Nate Gabriel and Nick Krahe met with us yesterday, so we'll hear from them coming up in just a few minutes. We'll also head down the road to Glenville, check in with our buddy, former WVU assistant Jake Casteel, who's preparing his Glenville State Pioneers for their season opener in what is his first year as head coach at Glenville State. So we'll hear from Jake coming up, see how that team's getting ready for its opener coming up here in just a couple of weeks. So we'll do that shortly. As usual, we'd like to hear from you as well. Text line's open, 304-8255-304. That's 304-TALK-304 if you'd like to weigh in. We'll take those comments, questions, whatever it may be throughout the show, and we'll get to those coming up here in just a bit. Coach, on a couple news items for you to begin the show.
Please.
You want to start with a court update, as we seem to most nights now?
Yeah, well, just begin with that, because obviously it's relevant.
All right. It is relevant. So last night, the judge in the Colorado case, remember that one, the class action suit there for the class of 2022, making them eligible. That was Judge Sweeney. Well, she denied the NCAA's request for an emergency stay for the injunction she issued last week. So NCAA loses that little note right there for the stay. Here's what's interesting. This is from Darren Heitner on Twitter as he read through the report or the ruling. This is interesting from the court. Now, again, it's Judge Sweeney, so she really just upheld her own decision there. But how about this for a couple comments? This is from the court. Quote, "And in this case, the record showed and continues to show, as explained below, that the NCAA is in a bind of its own making. In other words, its own business judgment gave rise not only to the court's finding that plaintiffs had shown that they were likely to succeed on the merits of their Sherman Act claim, but also gave rise to exactly the chaos about which the NCAA now complains. At the bottom line, the NCAA made its own choice, which comes with its own consequences." I thought that was interesting and pretty pointed, and then continues this. Says the NCAA argues that plaintiffs will not be harmed absent a stay. ... Nonsense, she says. So she did not take that argument at all, did she? So no win there for the NCAA, but this isn't done. It heads to the 10th Court of Appeals, or the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. They will hear the appeal of the NCAA. So this doesn't end it. It was just simply a ruling on the stay. Other legal news and related to the Big 12. Did you see this one? A judge has granted a temporary injunction to Baylor defensive lineman Hosea Wheeler. He now becomes eligible for the Bears. So there's another one that is getting through. Defensive lineman for the Bears. So the NCAA loses another court case, Coach Hunter.
Yeah. Have they somewhere along the line they have to have won one? Do you remember them winning any court case outside of maybe, can't even imagine some minor case they have actually won. Have they won anything?
Yeah, they have. We just don't focus on.
Yeah.
We just don't focus on those as much. But they have, yes. They have. Hey, I'm going to call an audible.
Okay.
Speaking of football, we're going to call an audible. I see that Coach Casteel has joined us now.
Ready to go now.
Ready to go now.
Love a guy who's prepared and even early.
Coach Casteel running tempo. So we're going to go. We're going to go right to the phones and welcome in our buddy Jake Casteel, the new head coach. I don't know if he's new anymore. Probably first-year head coach.
Yes.
Of the Glenville State Pioneers, getting ready for his season opener. He joins us now on the CityNet statewide Sportsline. Jake, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, buddy. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I appreciate it.
All right. Got a season opener coming here in a couple weeks. I want to get into that, dive into the weeds. But first, let's go big picture. Last time we talked to you, I think it was the day you'd accepted the job at Glenville. So now fast forward a couple of months. You're into year one here. What's been the biggest difference you've noticed going from an assistant role to the head coach role?
Yeah, well, obviously you're responsible for a lot more. You go from 9, 10, 15 kids in a room that you're responsible for to not really skip the coordinator thing to now I got 120 that you got to think about at all times and make sure they have a good experience, make sure you're preparing them mentally, physically to go play on Saturdays, and then making sure they're doing well in school. So, the first thing I did was hire some good assistant coaches so I could disperse some of that work and they could handle some of the off-the-field stuff, some of the things on the field. I hired Coach Nate Mullen, to run the offense and help me while I'm doing the defensive thing. But obviously you're just taking on a lot of stuff that I had never even thought about. Academic scheduling, weight room scheduling, field schedules, things that were it's like, oh, man, yeah, okay, I do need to do this. And as I've gone, whatever it's been, 6-8 months now, I'm starting to settle in and get used to it now.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. We talk so often in players as they get game experience, everything slows down for them. You feeling the same in those coaches' roles, especially the administration side? I realize football is football. You get into it, now you're into practice, and that's what you've done your whole life. I think it would be more, correct me if I'm wrong, more the administrative type stuff that has kind of been the shock to the system, if anything.
Definitely. That's been the biggest adjustment for me, and I'll just give you an example. Like we have 2 separate player move-in dates for our freshmen, all the newcomers, transfers, all the guys that are just showing up right now. And I had this big move-in list. And about 2 days before, the student life office was like, hey, Coach, where's the move-in list? And I was like, yeah, they probably need that one. And this is stuff I hadn't really thought about. Sure. And, you got all these from the financial aid office to the admissions office, the registrar, student life that need a lot of information because we have about 10% of the campus here on our football team. So we're a big part of the campus. They rely on us, rely on our players for the campus environment. So I got to make sure they're all involved and know what the heck's going on with the football team.
So you mentioned move-in date right there. And, Jake, I mean, when you were at the FBS level, move-in date was June. Most of the guys came in January. You had 8 months to work with them before you even started preseason camp. This is much later in the process. For a lot of them, you probably didn't even have your veterans much in the summer. Is it harder to get them ramped up when they're relatively new to the whole thing?
Yeah, that was an adjustment for me. This is the first time I've been at a school where you don't have guys June and July. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some good to that for the players and the coaches. There is a little bit more of a personal life. The players get to go home, be with their families longer. And I would argue, obviously I'd love to have them all summer because you can get through a lot of installs. You can meet with them. You can do different things. They're working out, and you're seeing them with your own two eyes, do all that. But I think our guys came back really, really fresh, mentally, physically. They were ready to go. Like they were ready to come back. Versus I think when you're there all summer, you feel like you never got to get a break. So mentally, I think our guys were geared up, ready to go on day one of fall camp.
You mentioned your staff there, and you feel like you've hired some really good assistants to help you with that side of it. And obviously, that's the mark of a successful head coach is having great assistants. You obviously know that. How'd you go about that? Did you have a list like tucked in your back pocket that when I get my head coaching job, these are some guys I want to reach out to? How'd you go about assembling this staff?
Yeah. A lot of it is through the networking, which is a huge part of coaching. And, I'm blessed to be in the position I was in, coming from a coaching family to where I know a lot of coaches' kids, and we're all about the same age. So, like Nate Mullins, an example of that. Like, I got a job. He's one of the first guys I call. And there's a bunch of guys that I grew up with in Morgantown, Blaine Stewart, Jack Armstrong, that are coaching football. Now, I couldn't get all of them, but I was able to get a few of them. And then the other guys were friends of friends, guys I had hung out with, met at the convention, maybe worked on a staff with at Jacksonville State or West Virginia, or any of my previous stops where, okay, you guys looking to get your first position job? Like, let's go do it. And we got a young staff. Coach Brian Hill, Bubba, is kind of our old man, our veteran that keeps us in check. But we got a young staff, so we're pretty fiery, and everybody's getting their first opportunity, so everybody's pretty hungry.
So I'm sure you were thrilled from the administration side to get the job, Jesse Skiles and the bunch at Glenville, but then you look up at your first game and, let me travel to an FCS opponent that's typically very good in Elon. Casey Vance, a former Mountaineer himself, a member of that staff, by the way. You have to look up at that and go, well, welcome to college football as a head coach.
Yeah. So that we were looking for a game, and so happened Elon was looking for a game. And Casey called me and said, hey, would you guys be interested in playing us? Because if so, I'll get you in touch with our head coach. I said, heck yeah, we'll go down there and play you. And because for our guys, that's a big game. They get to go play a Division I opponent. They get to prove Elon didn't recruit them. So they get to go prove, hey, I should be playing Division I football. I should be at this level. I was overlooked. So I was all for it. Our guys are excited about it. They are very, very, they've been good for years. And that they're in a really good FCS conference. So it's going to be a big challenge for us, but we're looking forward to it. And I look forward to seeing Casey and coaching against him.
Talking with Jake Casteel, Glenville State head coach in his first year. They're getting ready for their season opener coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Talk to us a little bit about recruiting, Jake. It sounds like you've got a bunch of West Virginia kids on your roster, but I know you've gone all over. How did the rebuild go there once you took the job?
Yeah, so when I got here, there was, I think, 52 kids on the roster, if I remember correctly. And I'm sitting around as I'm getting the staff ready to go. I'm like, guys, we're going to have to go get 25, 30 kids so we can have a legit spring ball. Because the first spring was really important for us because we're starting to put our system in offensively, defensively, on special teams. So we went and added 30, 35 kids over the winter before the spring ball started. And, obviously, you're not going to keep everybody all the time in this day and age. We lost a few. We went and signed a very large high school class, most of them from the state of West Virginia. I think we ended up with 35 high school kids, and 26 are from the state of West Virginia, and then added in a few more JUCO portal guys here over the summer. And that's the difference that Division I now, their rosters are limited. We're not limited at all. So we're sitting right around 120 kids, which is awesome. For our scout team, for our depth, for special teams depth, where, we're going to keep trying to add to that. 120 is about the sweet mark for us, I feel like. But, recruiting's really never stops. Thank God they put the portal window on Division II, though, because it limits a little bit of the bouncing around that you can do, just like they're starting to do at the Division I level.
Jake, you mentioned that you're going after a lot of high school kids, and I know the discussion is that since, the Division I schools are going after so many portal guys, that they're letting some high school guys drop through the cracks that certainly would have been scholarship players at FBS or FCS schools in the past. Have you noticed that? Is there better talent available to you guys, do you think, at the Division II level?
Definitely. The portal is taking some spots away from kids, and it's a trickle-down effect from Power 4 to the Group of 5 to FCS. So, and then it gets down to us. So we're getting kids that maybe 10 years ago were going to Elon or going to Richmond or William & Mary, to where now those schools are getting a different type of kid. So I feel like we're getting access to a better high school kid that we can develop. And, but the portal isn't totally a bad thing either. Like, we're going to keep using it. I don't want to live in it, because I do think you can build a really good roster, especially out of the state of West Virginia and our surrounding states, by recruiting high school kids for the reasons we just talked about. Is there are more of them out there that are looking for opportunities, because some of those are getting taken away by the portal at the higher levels.
Yeah, and it seems like, Jake, when we talk about this a lot on this show, that path is going to become even more viable. You provide such a great opportunity for these guys to get on the field and perform and have others see them. I would assume that's part of the approach you will take moving forward. Yes, you want to retain, especially some of the young guys, but if you have some folks that go out and perform extremely well and they have offers elsewhere, I would assume that's just part of the process for you, and you just go down and that's why you want to build some depth. Is that kind of how you handle the portal when guys are potentially exiting?
Definitely. And, if we're doing our job as coaches, recruiting, developing, and we're winning games, people should come try to get our players, because we should have pretty good players. And I've told our team this. I used it during the recruiting process. I actually made sure Mr. Skiles was okay with me using that you can get anywhere you want to go out of Glenville State, whether that's you play really well and want to move up, you want to go to the NFL, you want to go pro in something other than sports. Like, you can do all of those things through playing football here. And the most important thing for kids that we try, like, you can come here, get film, play, and somebody's got to pay you to leave here when you get in the portal. And vice versa. If you go sit on the bench, you're going to end up coming back down here if you go sit on the bench at a Power 4 or an FCS school. So we use it to our advantage. And not that it's easy to play here. We have a lot of really talented kids, but more power to guys. If they get better opportunities and they want to pursue those, that's good for both parties, in my opinion.
How much you leaning on your dad for advice?
Pretty good amount. He watches a lot of our film. He comes down. Right now he's been dog sitting because my mom's out of town. But he came down, I think, 3 times last week. I think he's going to end up coming down here this weekend. And, more football than anything, defensively and some things like that. How did you coach this? And, and then, he's always been a good mentality guy and instilling toughness in his defenses and his players, and kind of picking his brain on, how did you go about instilling some of those things? And I lean on stuff I learned from Coach Rodriguez and how he gets his teams ready to play. Because his teams are always really tough and they play their freaking tails off. But yeah, I lean on my dad a lot. He does it. He tries to stay away from the head coach advice because he's like, I never had to do it, but I still lean on him. I still lean on him a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty good resource to do so, especially on the defensive side, as you well know. All right, my friend, I know you're really busy and you got to run. We'll cut you loose. We'll keep up with you, as we told you before. We're rooting for you. We're watching you, and we'll certainly have you back on again soon, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
All right, thanks, Jake. We appreciate you. There he is, Jake Casteel, checking in. Season 1, head coach at Glenville. They open the season on August 27th against Elon. Pretty good resource there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Jeff Casteel done it.
Not many people have that kind of resource to lean on who's just sitting around dog sitting now that he's retired.
But Jake sounded very head coach-esque, didn't he?
Yeah.
He settled right into that role nicely, and he's off and running. And we say oftentimes that it seems like everything runs through Glenville.
Runs through Glenville.
There it is.
In Elon. Remember, that was a school that 7 years ago, there was a guy named Kurt Signetti who was the head coach at Elon.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And former and Rich Rodriguez running through Glenville. That's a good point. A couple good alumni right there. All right, break to take. We're behind on one. We'll get to that next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. Your tax dollars helped expand broadband access across West Virginia, and CityNet makes it real. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. With free equipment, free installation, no contract, and local support you can trust. So whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline
Returns in 2 minutes.
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Football season begins right here on MetroNews Television. Join us Thursday, August 27th for the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Presented by the Army National Guard. The Cameron Dragons battle the Clay Battelle Seabees live from Blacksville. Don't miss the first kickoff of the new season, the 2026 WVSSAC kickoff game. Thursday, August 27th at 7 p.m. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. Powered by GoMart, only on Metro News Television.
Across West Virginia, connection begins with fast, reliable fiber internet. Connecting overlooked communities to what matters most. Protecting businesses with managed IT and advanced cybersecurity, backed by local experts. Perfecting technology experiences while investing in West Virginia's future. CityNet, built and supported by West Virginians, for West Virginia.
At Daniel's Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniel's is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in store at Daniel's.
I had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then before I entered into congestive heart failure,
we really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
Need a truck that's ready for work, weekends, and everything in between? Right now at Dan Cava GMC, get up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500, or save up to $4,000 off all new GMC Canyon Elevations, offering bold styles, advanced technology, and everyday practicality. Come explore our all-new GMC Yukons, built for busy families and big adventures. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thorold.
We're back on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Brad and Greg with you. We're live in our Health Plan studio. The Health Plan provides health coverage options and has been the most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Since 1979, the Health Plan's called West Virginia home. From humble beginnings, they've grown alongside West Virginia, becoming a part of its fabric. For over 4 decades, they've been here through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving West Virginia for over 40 years, the Health Plan. Coach, I'll continue with a couple news and notes here. One of our TVs here in the studio, we've got the Little League World Series on. Mm-hmm. Northwest Regional, I believe Regional Championship online. I looked up earlier right before you walked in. A familiar logo on the screen. Idaho against Washington. And the Idaho team, dressed in green and gray, sporting the Flying WV, similar to you on your shirt. you're supporting the Idaho team here today as the West Valley Idaho Mountaineers are playing in the, I just added Mountaineers.
Yeah.
Playing here for the right to go to Little League World Series. They're up 5-1. So anytime apparently you're a baseball team with the flying WV on your logo, it's going to turn out pretty well for you.
Yeah. They winning?
Yeah, 5-1.
Okay.
5-1, bottom of
now,
4.
Are there not any copyright infringements on this?
Well,
we got to call downtown and figure this out.
It's interesting. Texter texts us and says, I sure hope West Valley, Idaho Little League team is paying royalties to West Virginia for wearing the flying WV. You know, I'll follow up on that. I'll ask that question. It used to be in the old days when I was back doing that stuff, there was a mechanism in there that you would allow these type of things to happen, and there's a form you fill out and they sign off and you do it, and there weren't royalties collected. What royalties are they getting? But pretty interesting.
Yeah, for what may be a nonprofit type situation, but
well, they're up 5-1. West Virginia, Idaho.
Well, it's just a baseball logo now, right?
Look, there it is. Got a great shot of it right there they're on ESPN right now. If you want to turn over and look, it looks weird on the green. I'll have to say that it's a dark, deep forest green there, Coach Hunter.
Idaho, we'd think forest green.
Trees. Well, they're up 5-1. So anyway, flying WV logo having some success there on baseball. Speaking of baseball, JJ Weatherholt update. We haven't talked about him in a while.
No, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, not a great night last night. 0 for 4, did score a run, 6-5 loss to the Phillies. They go. Those two teams go again tonight at 7:45. Cardinals are in third place in the National League Central. They're now 10 games back of the second place Cubs, and they sit. St. Louis does 4.5 games out of a wild card spot. JJ, here's what I found interesting, though. I keep my eye on this. JJ continues to be the pretty heavy favorite here for NL Rookie of the Year. FanDuel has him listed as a -175 favorite as of just a couple of hours ago. Second on that list, Sal Stewart. We've talked about him a bunch. He's +175. And then, Greg, after that, it goes 30-1. I mean, this is a
two-horse race.
Yeah, It's a two-person race as we come down the stretch with about 60 games to go here. So hopefully JJ can finish that off as we continue to say what an awesome achievement that would be if he could close out Rookie of the Year.
Oh, boy.
Wow. That'd be a big wow, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Such high expectations for him from the moment he left West Virginia. Well, even before that, you knew how good he was going to be, but has not, certainly lived up to and exceeded everything you could have thought possible.
Just incredible. When were we up there? When did we see him? Was that April still?
That was April.
So it was still early.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was hot, and it has not cooled off. So anyway, -175 favorite still to win the NL Rookie of the Year. We'll keep an eye on that here weekly or so as we move throughout the final couple of months here. Like I said, final 60 games of the regular season, see how he's doing. West Virginia out of the top of the inning there against Washington. 5-1 as they head to the bottom of the inning. We'll keep an eye on that score as well. All right, let's get back on schedule. We'll get a break in now. When we come back, we'll talk some football. We'll hear from Nate Gabriel, Nick Krahe, straight ahead on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Struggling with weight can feel overwhelming, but you don't have to face it alone. At the WVU Medicine Medical and Surgical Weight Loss Center, we offer proven surgical options and compassionate support to help you achieve lasting weight loss and better health. We guide you every step of the way, from personalized planning to long-term success. Reserve your spot at a free, no-obligation information session. Call 304-293-1728 or visit wvumedicine.org/bariatrics.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
When was the last time you checked your home's fire safety? From working smoke alarms and clear escape routes to safe heating in the winter, small checks make a big difference. The West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office has launched a quick, easy home safety survey to help you spot simple fixes around your house before emergency strikes. Take just 5 minutes today to keep your family safe. Visit firemarshal.wv.gov to complete your home safety survey. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. We will continue to see multiple rounds of thunderstorms presenting some severe conditions, the main concern being damaging winds. We may also see some 1-inch hail or tornado spin out, but our greatest threat is flooding. We've already had some communities measuring a couple inches of rainfall, multiple rounds through Thursday night. By Friday morning, drier air starting to work into the region. The severe risk through Tuesday, widespread slight risk enhanced toward Huntington. Then this is also our time frame with the greatest potential for flooding, a moderate risk for western West Virginia. By Wednesday, a marginal risk for some damaging winds still. Parkersburg on the northern edge of that, Lewisburg, Charleston, these areas, and the slight risk for excessive rainfall. By Thursday, the slight risk is back going north and east. Fortunately, by Thursday, our severe threat starts to diminish. But for today, we had the late morning, early afternoon round, then our late afternoon to evening round of storms moving from northwest to southeast. By midnight, severe threat is improving, but we could still see the rain piling up, leading to elevated rivers, creeks, and streams, especially over southwestern portions of West Virginia. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. Summer heat is building across a large swath of the southern and south central, southeastern U.S. Meanwhile, Chicago, if you're traveling that way, you can expect some more comfortable conditions the later part of the week. Panhandle to Panhandle forecast, bottoming out in mid to upper 60s overnight, then low to mid 80s on Wednesday looking north. Further east, Martinsburg 68 for a low, then 87 on Wednesday. We'll see Elkins at 66 overnight, then 73 for a high in Snowshoe, going west for some mid 80s. Marlinton 65 overnight, then Charleston 86 on our Wednesday, gradually trending warmer on Sunday with the drier air. More wet weather early next week.
High-speed fiber internet is probably at your front door, and now's the time to connect. More rural communities in West Virginia can finally get the high-speed internet they deserve. Whether you're streaming, working, gaming, or running your business, CityNet delivers the speed and reliability you need. Keep an eye on this score here, Coach Hunter. West Virginia, Idaho, up 5-1, top of 5, as they lead off the fifth there with a base hit to right field. Texter, Ed in Preston County. This is a good one, Coach Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Ed asks the question, says, will West Virginia, Idaho play country roads if they win?
Ooh, somebody will have to keep us abreast of that one because we're unable to have the sound up here. So
that's a good text. They should. You're going to wear the Flying WV. You break out country roads too. Just go all in.
When WVU signs off on the ability to wear the Flying WV, that should be a prerequisite, right? Yeah, you can wear it. We won't charge anything, but you got to play country roads after the game.
That's a great question. I love that, Ed. Thanks for texting. 304-TALK 304. That's 304-8255-304 if you'd like to weigh in. We'll get into your texts coming up here in just a minute. Let's talk some of the players we heard from yesterday. We had a big discussion last night on the defensive line, and as we mentioned last night, a lot of that was because Nate Gabriel came out and talked to us. So now we'll hear directly from him. But you said last night you've got him up in your top 10 most important players, probably higher than top 10.
Yeah.
Most important players, one of the few returning guys, especially on that defensive side.
And, Nick Krahe, very important, as well as possibly the only returnee who will start for the Mountaineer offensive line. Both these guys are going to be integral figures, and definitely Nate Gabriel, just based on not only his experience but his talent level, and the fact that there's some questions around him. What else does West Virginia have? I think he's got to be a significant player for the Mountaineers this year.
So let's get in and hear from Nate. The first part of it was when his coach, the position coach William Green, was there, he talked about Nate needing to be more of a vocal leader now as he's moved forward, and kind of for the reasons you just said, Greg, they're looking for more voice from Nate Gabriel. Nate was asked who really are the vocal leaders, especially on the defensive side right now. Who would those guys be?
Yeah, we got Ben Cutt. We got Tyler for sure. We got number 8. He right now is the vocal leader of the whole group, of the whole defense. I want to be more like him. He's really the example of the vocal leader we need right now.
All right, so let's translate.
Yeah.
Ben Cutt would be Ben Cutter.
Yep.
Tyler would be Tyler Stolsky, transfer in from FAU,
Number 8,
used to play.
You looked up
and
this
number
on,
8 is Kamari Wilson,
Yes.
transfer from Memphis most recently, but played at Florida as well. And that's no surprise that Kamari's out there leading the vocal side of it. But those are the Ben Cutter, Tyler Stolsky, Kamari Wilson right now are the 3 most vocal leaders. Kamari leading the pack there.
And again, 2 of them are new to the program, but certainly aren't new to college football. As a matter of fact, I mean, I didn't count up snap counts, but of all the guys that West Virginia has on defense, those 3 may top you in college snap counts. Kamari Wilson, started all games last year at Memphis. Before that, 2 years at Florida. Before that, was at Arizona State for a season. Stolsky spent time at Minnesota, was a starter all last year at Florida Atlantic, and we know Ben Cutter has played every one of the now 38 games of his Mountaineer career. Hadn't started all of them, has started 10, 11 of them. But between them, they have the most college experience and certainly are going to have to be major leaders. And Nate Gabriel isn't far behind. I mean, he's got 3 years in at West Virginia. And again, he admitted he's not a vocal guy, but he's got to become one.
He's getting there, and he's trying. Kamari Wilson's a guy for me. I don't know where I have him in my top 10, but he's super important. I think for a lot of the pedigree reasons you just named. That's a dude that's been at some places and has played a lot of ball. He needs to be really, really good. It also strikes me, talking about Tyler Stolsky, and we'll talk about this more once they take the field and you see him. The resemblance to Nico is is a little bit jarring, Coach Hunter. When he takes that helmet on and you're standing there, that he looks a ton. Now bigger, he's a big dude. He's jacked, so he's bigger than what Nico was, even though Nico's a big guy. The facial resemblance there, I think, is pretty remarkable.
A little bit the hair to go
he's
with
got
it.
He's got the whole thing. The whole facial look and hair is.
And again, he's an important piece as well, because very experienced linebacker at a position that's going to have a lot of newcomers there. So he's even if he's not a starter, which he very well may be, he's a major rotational piece for West Virginia as they try to rebuild that position. There's some other guys, Ashton Woods and Ben Cutter, who've played football for the Mountaineers, are there as well. But boy,
and then you add in Malik Hood from Illinois. I think that position
Cam
has
Torbor.
and Cam Torbor, a ton of potential there. They like him a lot. That to me has if you're talking about, we talked the other day, the positions you're most concerned about, that's one on the defense that you actually feel good about. You're playing a couple guys. I feel like you got 6 guys that can rotate in that have played a lot of college football. All right, let's get back to Nate Gabriel. Asked what the difference was, biggest differences between Nate Gabriel last year and Nate Gabriel this season.
Definitely stronger, definitely better on my technique. I feel like I'm just 10 times better than where I was as a freshman than now.
All right, and that's what you'd expect. You said he's been here a while and he's starting to get an understanding for what it takes to play at this level. All right, next question came from Tony, and I love this when you ask the player about the group that's across from them. So Tony asked Nate to evaluate the offensive line that he's going against every day.
Our offensive line is really physical. I like the way they get off the ball. Coach Tricker is doing a great job with them with the Austin leg drives. They're really strong. They can lead us this year.
If you would, kind of talk a little bit about tempo. Obviously, everything is designed to go fast. What challenge does that present to you individually and as your unit? I would only assume that that's going to make you better over the long haul.
Yeah, the tempo's fast, but we just have to get used to the speed, get the play calls, get down. That's it. We're used to it, though. We're good at the D-line.
So when a team doesn't run tempo, obviously the opponents that you play, do you see that as a benefit? Do you see that as an advantage to you?
Yeah, we get an advantage because everything slows down. We don't have to, think too fast. We can slow it down, communicate as a D-line, see what we're doing.
Yeah, that'll be a difference for him after going so fast in practice. You get regular tempo there, and it'll be a change of pace. All right, last question for Nate Gabriel. We talked a lot about these guys yesterday, but from his perspective, the new guys in the room with him, who's impressed him the most?
I guess Yendor and Cam, them the 2 freshmen of the D-line room right now. Them boys come in, they're young, but they're doing their thing. They're not getting pushed around. They're not, letting anything happen to them. They're in there fighting. JUCO guy, I guess, KJ's a dog. He's going to be a player this year that we really lean on. JT, he's a dog too. We're going to lean on him. all our JUCO freshman guys, we're going to need them. We're going to need everybody in that D-line room.
All right, let's translate again. We talked about a lot of these guys. There's another Yendor Mack mention.
Yeah.
We said last night he gets the most mention for a guy that you probably haven't heard of in yesterday's room.
We need to
Everybody.
start that index like we used to have, the Brown index from years past.
Well,
We need
Yendor
that.
Mack's leading it right now after one day. KJ was KJ Henson. JT was Jalen Thomas. We talked a lot about those guys yesterday coming in from JUCO. They're going to be counted on a lot to play on that defensive line.
Yeah, and again, when you talk about rotation, there are a few other positions that rotate more than defensive line, right? So, I mean, you really do need minimum 5, probably 6 or 7 defensive linemen who can rotate through, and each can give you snaps. It's best if you don't have anybody who has to go 50 snaps, if you can get a bunch of guys that can go 25 to 35 in that range, and you feel like there's no real drop-off amongst them. That's what ultimately you want, but we've got to see, because you're talking about a couple of true freshmen in there who both likely will be part of that rotation, or very well could be part of that rotation. A couple of junior college guys who haven't played at this level before, they're stepping up. I mean, each of those look like they have ability, but there's no experience at this level.
Yeah, that's why those questions persist around that defensive line. Potentially a lot of talent there, but just guys that haven't been able to do it. And you go back and look at last year, there were multiple guys that were playing up around that 50, 55 snaps a game, so you didn't quite have the depth where you want to get. They're hoping they've got that part
the
corrected.
nice thing about that, every one of those guys we mentioned is coming back for multiple years. I mean, Gabriel has played 2 full seasons at West Virginia, started his career, played a lot as a true freshman, played every game last year. But with the rule, he's got 3 years left, including this one.
Yeah, well, you hope they're here. You don't assume that.
I understand, but he's got 3 years of college left, and you hope you can keep him here and keep him healthy. And I mean, that's the developmental process. The longer you can have those guys and keep them, if you can keep them with your program. But there's a guy you feel pretty good about. I mean, he's gone through it a couple of different coaches, has stuck with West Virginia, has had success, and you hope that he just continues to ride that out and develop.
He talked about that yesterday. He said, he didn't transfer anywhere in high school, and he said that's his goal is to play out here. That's just as we know in today's world, that's far from a gimme. That just because you have eligibility that you're going to be back. Although football wise, you hope that stabilizes some. Now you get Rich coming back and they're in the system. You hope that's not, it just can't be an 80-person rebuild next year, that you've backfilled with some of these young guys, and some of these JUCO guys will stick around. A retention pool, if that eventually gets voted on the College Sports Act, comes through, and that you are able to keep this, but of course not the automatic that it once was. All right, final break to take. When we come back, we turn our attention to offensive line. We'll hear from Nick Krahe. Also have some time to get into your texts. If you'd like to weigh in, please send one over, 304-8255-304. We're back after this on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
It's good to have options for your family or employees. Rooted in your community since 1979, the health plan is your trusted partner. Get flexible coverage, exceptional support, and competitive rates.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
For over 20 years, Dan Cava Toyota World has been more than a dealership. We're family-owned, community-focused, and committed to taking care of our customers long after the sale. Visit Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
At Daniels Men's Store, exceptional style begins with a curated selection and finishes with a flawless fit. When it's time to buy a suit, Daniels is here to make sure yours is one of a kind. Discover tailored suits you'll only find in-store at Daniels.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
They had a severe heart attack in November of 2024. And then I entered into congestive heart failure.
We really had to go towards an LVAD. And not only is he living, he's thriving.
Final segment, sitting at statewide Sportsline, keeping an eye on West Virginia, Idaho against Washington in the Little League World Series. Bottom of 5, 7-1 now. Idaho extends its lead out wearing their sharp-looking Flying WV hats. So they're up 7-1. Greg from Lake Norman texts in, says, so are you guys going to get the West Valley head coach on for an interview?
We'll see what happens.
They keep winning. We're also watching another game. Must be take other teams' logos night. Tennessee, Alabama squaring off in the Southeast Region Championship.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that Alabama's wearing as their logo the throwback A of the Atlanta Braves, which is sharp. I like it. And interesting for Alabama, might be their best player, Kinley Rasmus.
Mm-hmm.
She pitches for him and hits. What was she hitting? Second in the order?
Yes.
Just came up with a base hit and came around to score the game's first run. Alabama up 1-0 in that one. Her dad and uncle both played in the bigs.
Dad is Corey, first-round draft choice of the Braves, so that maybe that's why they are allowed to use the logo. And then spent most of his major league career with the Angels. Uncle was a first-round choice as well with the Cardinals. And Kinley may have a better arm than either of those two.
She might be a first-round choice. I'm wondering if Sabes is watching this and can call her. They showed her on the mound, absolutely perfect form, throwing some gas, and had a great curveball, and her swing was beautiful playing for Alabama. So that game's on, I think, ESPN 2, if you want to dive in. So we have all kinds of suddenly we're engaged in the Little League Baseball world. I haven't watched a second of it till tonight.
No.
Now I'm locked in on two different teams.
NBA Summer League, now with Little League Baseball, you get all enthralled.
Little League World Series. Well, that's the logo thing that drew me in there. All right, let's get back to football here for the final few minutes. Nick Krahe, we've talked a ton, Greg, about this offensive line. I'm not sure there's a whole lot more we can say about this group until they actually take the field. But one of the leaders along that front is our guy Nick Krahe, former guest on Three Guys Before the Game. So we knew he'd be a good speaker yesterday when he took to the podium, and he was. And the first thing he addressed is something we've talked a lot about this offseason, is his move from tackle to guard. Here's Nick Krahe.
Nick, I think we talked a little bit about this in the spring, but your transition from tackle to guard, how has that gone? You comfortable yet? Was it difficult initially? What's it been like?
I think it's been good. It's been a little challenging because I think once you move inside, everything kind of happens at a faster rate compared to tackle. But I think, I know Coach Trey is definitely helping me make the change over there. So yeah, I'm just excited and looking forward to it.
Hardest part of that transition?
I think, like I said, just the speed of like the difference between tackle and guard and how fast things happen inside.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Right? Moving over from tackle to guard. I thought this was an interesting question too, and it was along those same lines, but the question was posed, which of these is more difficult, the moving from left side to right side or the position switch from tackle to guard?
That's a tough question. I would say, moving from tackle to guard is harder than left to right, because you obviously know the offense, you know the position that you're playing. But when you're going from one position to another, it's a different thing. You're going to do different things on different plays. But I think it's helped because now I know what the tackle is doing every play, and now I know what the guards is doing every play. So it helps me kind of put together what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think that's helped me a lot.
So that's an interesting move there from him. If you go off what Coach Trickett said last week, he's over on the left side there with Kevin Brown next to him. So you got the youngster, and then you got Nick there on the inside part of it.
Yeah, and there is a difference, though, right to left. I mean, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times. I mean, your stance, if you're doing it right, should be different, right? Left hand down, right hand down, depending on which side you're on. Your opposite foot back, and all those type of things. So your stance is different, but the playbook, I mean, it's mirrored, but it's not really that bizarre. It's more stance for most linemen that are going to get you right to left, but obviously tackle to guard a lot of times. I mean, it's often a different stance a bit as well, but it's just speed rushers compared to bull rushers, those type of thing, what you're going to face inside compared to outside.
Where do you have him ranked in your most important players?
Way up there.
It's hard to separate those guys, right? You have the whole offensive line is number one on your list.
Because he has more experience, certainly at West Virginia, than any of the rest. He's probably the most important offensive lineman, though. I mean, they all sort of fit into that category. But I think he's way up there because, again, they need his leadership ability. In a lot like Nate Gabriel, not necessarily a vocal guy. And I don't think anybody needs to be vocal considering the guy that's coaching them. He's going to do that, but still you need that leader by example, that guy who's been there a long time, and he certainly is that guy that they're going to lean on.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Zach Frazier wasn't a vocal guy either and got it done in that room.
Absolutely.
If there's a group that can handle a non-vocal leader and still get their work done, it's that particular group, the offensive line. Texter 304-8255-304 says, yesterday Coach Rod spoke a little about the kickoff and punt return. Last year, a couple different times, he pretty much came out and said he wants them just to fair catch kickoffs because they usually get in worse field position when they tried to return it. You think that was a lack of talent or a new approach that he'll employ this season?
Well, I think they'd love to be able to return. He is right in terms of a lot of time kickoffs were just fair caught because bringing it out to the 25, you didn't think you were going to be able to get it out that far unless you had opportunities in a real line drive kick. I think some of it is the way the game is gone today. Kickers are really good. They can either kick the ball deep into the end zone or they can sky it long enough and hang it up that it's hard to get a good return out of it. But I do think they believe they have relatively good return people and enough athletes on their special teams that can block, that they have opportunities for plays there. Though, again, admittedly, kickoff returns sort of moved out, not just at West Virginia, but for a lot of schools, out of the big play realm that it used to be. Punts where you get more of your big plays often.
Texter writes in from Greenbrier County, just wanting an update on the quarterback progression. Wanted to see which one is the one that could potentially start between Hawkins and Scotty Fox.
I think it's still a battle at this point. I mean, we all believe that Hawkins has the lead, but I don't think that lead is so substantial that it can't switch around. Though I think as you move forward, how surprised would you be if we get on September 1st and Hawkins isn't the guy taking the initial snap?
Yeah, I do think he's the front runner here. And I don't know that that's a big secret. I know Rich is not going to anoint him, and nor does he have to, nor should he. And you've got a guy in Scotty Fox that performed well last year in really adverse circumstances and acquitted himself well. I would even argue, you saw more than flashes of what he can be, and I think he's going to be a really good college quarterback. But I don't think it's any secret that when you look at Michael Hawkins, that's the more of a prototypical Rich quarterback, a guy who can be a run first, although Hawkins can certainly throw it, but can be a run first guy, which is not Scotty Fox.
Yeah.
It's not to say Scotty can't run it. We saw him do it last year, but he would be more a throw first guy with his arm. So I don't know that that's a surprise or breaking any new ground, but I would be surprised if it's not Michael Hawkins taking the field game one. Now, Also, as Rich is fond of saying, if he thinks Scotty at some point gives him a better chance to win, he will not hesitate to get Scotty Fox in there. And there's a reason why you wanted to keep Fox around and let him progress into year 2. But Hawkins is more the prototypical guy that we've seen Rich succeed with in the past. Agree?
Yeah, no, I would agree wholeheartedly. And, at this point, that's why, I still think Hawkins is the guy, but nothing Rich does surprises me. We've seen that before.
Texter, last text of the night says, how are ticket sales going this year? That's something we haven't heard a whole lot about yet.
I checked on that.
Very good, Coach Hunter. What did you find out?
Season ticket sales, and down a little bit, admittedly. As of when I checked, and that was a few days ago, 26,200 were the total season ticket sales at this point.
So still not too far off from 30,000 there, which would be a good benchmark.
That's where they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
still a month to go before that. All right, good question, though. We have not talked about that. We'll get into that and keep an update over the next couple of weeks. All right, one final update. Speaking of updates, we're keeping an eye on West Virginia, Idaho, playing Washington in the Northwest region of the Little League World Series. 7-3 now. Idaho up over Washington. So Washington's tacked on a couple points, a couple runs in the top of the 6th. They only play 6 in Little League, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So let's go West Virginia, Idaho. There's a good shot of the flying WV right there, Coach Hunter.
Looks good on that helmet.
I know. The green's throwing me off, though. We have to work on that. I might have to go to gray uniforms here, get them off the green. That'll do it for us tonight. Thanks for all the texts. We'll do it again tomorrow night, 6:06. We'll talk to you then. Enjoy your evening. See you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.